Welcome to Lights Camera Barstool, episode 114 overall. Of season 2. We got to be nearing like 500 episodes of this show overall. Jeff D. Lowe, Ken Jack, Gooch coming at you today talking 2 movies. One, a big action thriller on Netflix, Extraction 2, including an interview with the director, Sam Hargrave, who we talked to last time Extraction came out, though in a much different setting and in a much different world of where we didn't know if Extraction would be good or not. Turned out it was awesome. And then we are finally talking about The Flash. Andy Muschietti's Flash.
Andy Muschietti, who's now gets to do Batman as well and other stuff.
Which
Brave and the Bold, baby.
I know. If you've seen, first of all, if you've seen this, even if you haven't seen this movie, I'd suggest listening to this review. I mean, I think at this point, so much has been spoiled already. I wouldn't even call the stuff we're going to spoil that crazy because so much of it was in the press.
Mm-hmm.
Muschietti, just told people about some of the cameos and moments beforehand. It's interesting. I don't think any of us hate this movie. But I think we all probably hate the hype of the movie. I think what happened around The Flash is one of the most bizarre, strange, and it's not even it wasn't even a move to sell tickets, which it didn't, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's the funnier part.
It wasn't because look, Marvel does this, Star Wars does this, any franchise does big press stuff like this. But this one was so strange and pointed and different with the way they were getting out hype for this movie that it's a flop in so many ways. It's very
the hype came from people I trust.
Yeah.
Right.
People who never really get caught up in this kind of hype. And like you said, Jeff, we got to talk about it because I've never been one to think people are getting paid to hype something up, but this movie may have changed my mind.
Yeah. Because it wasn't necessarily they were just being generally positive. It was people saying this is the best comic book movie of all time. This is one of the best comic book movies of all time. It's none of those things. And if you think one of those things, you're an idiot. I'm sorry, it's just true. Or you haven't seen enough comic book movies.
You are the one.
Yeah, exactly. And that would make sense. But these people are people who do this for a living, watch movies or watch comic book stuff and all of these things. So you would think that they would know a better relative scale for levels of hype to give out comic book movies. So that part of it's very, very bizarre.
Maybe Ezra Miller's little cult is bigger than we thought.
Yeah, seriously.
He did have that cult going for a while, the Church of Ezra Miller.
Forgot about that. That was a rough year, 2022.
Him and Sigourney Weaver.
They and Sigourney Weaver.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's the other thing too, is that they put a ton of stock behind Ezra Miller, who is wrapped up in a ton of controversy and accusations and things. And Warner Brothers did that. And, at the time of when they dropped Johnny Depp, obviously, we know a lot more about Johnny Depp since then, but it is crazy how quickly they dropped Johnny Depp from Fantastic Beasts. And they didn't with Ezra Miller, who was also in Fantastic Beasts, by the way.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so strange how much weight was put behind this movie because it truly, if it wasn't for the hype, would be one of the most forgettable movie releases and experiences in a long time. And there's a couple things that are nice in here. Don't get me wrong. And I don't hate it. I had fun with it, but based on the level of hype, saying I had fun with it is not exactly what I was hoping for.
Exactly, yeah. You know who loved this movie, by the way? I was just talking to him before we came in here. It was Clemmer. Clemmer was like, I fucking love Flash. I fucking love it. It's so good. It's so good. And I was like,
interesting.
I'm not going to yell at you for liking The Flash.
So we're going to talk about it later in the week, I think. I think I'll be on long take for the new Wes Anderson movie. Robbie, I'll give a little teaser. You seem to like Asteroid City.
It's weird because on the one hand, and you'll understand more when you see it because it has this framing device, and of course all of Wes Anderson's movies do to an extent, but this one is so in your face and obnoxious, and it's 20% of the movie that it detracts from what's actually great, which is the in color part in Asteroid City. It's about as funny as Wes Anderson's ever been. There are some very, very funny moments and really good performances. It's just the story never really gets moving in a way. And I think a lot of that has to do with the massive cast. You're just all over the place. it's almost like a bunch of sketches like strung together. And then, yeah, like the framing device just did not work in any way for me. And you'll understand more when you see it.
I mentioned that because Clemmer, our coworker, Chris Clemmer, who's a big movie guy, big cinephile, he hated it. He said it was like truly, and he likes older Wes Anderson. He said it's just become such a, I'm summarizing here, I'm paraphrasing, but basically he was saying what a lot of the criticisms are for any Wes Anderson recent memory is that it's like, it's a slog. It's just Wes Anderson making a Wes Anderson movie that is by, paint by numbers, everything you'd expect, like visually speaking, and it just becomes, drab to look at. So I'm looking forward to, I always look forward to seeing his movies. Because you're either going to like
French
him.
Dispatch kind of turned me off a lot. That's what I was saying to him before we even started. I was like, fucking, if I have to sit in a theater through another aisle or another French Dispatch, I'm just going to fucking die.
A million times better than French Dispatch. So much better.
Low bar.
Low bar, but so much better.
Dispatch had some fun things. But there were some things that just like I think the best part of Dispatch was probably the painting one, right? The one with Benicio del Toro, if I remember correctly. I think that was the best one. But that one was so long, and all the other ones, it was put together so weird. The best was that one where it was like real people, and then it turned into like a cartoon animation and everything, and it was just like so Wes Anderson. It's unbelievable.
You remember
it was like a paper mache stop motion.
Oh yeah, one more thing. Rupert Friend deserved way more screen time. Every second he's on there, he's fucking hilarious. He's so good.
That's our guy.
He's a funny dude.
That's our guy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped is dedicated to bringing you the increase in your confidence and level up to your body grooming game with the Performance Package 4.0. The kit comes with a lawnmower 4.0, a waterproof cordless body trimmer, and a ton of other liquid formulations to help round out your grooming routine. Whether you're trimming or doing anything else, this is the best trimmer on the market. It features a ceramic blade designed to cut hair on loose skin and reduce grooming incidents. You don't want that. Thanks to advanced skin-safe technology, it also comes with the Manscaped Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner, an anti-chafing deodorant and moisturizer, because we know how painful chafing can be when you're wearing your bathing suit all day and or you got shit just banging around, especially when everything's hanging lower in the summer. And last, but not least, they have the ultimate nose hair trimmer, the Weed Whacker 2.0, and you get 2 free gifts, the Shed Travel Bag, which is a $39 value add, and the patented high-performance reduced chafing Manscaped boxers. Having the right tools for grooming is essential. Do yourself a favor and always use the right tools for the job. Get ready for the summer. Manscaped Performance Package 4.0.
Literally get ready for the summer. Friday I went out and it was very hot, and I hadn't cleaned the bushes in a while. Saturday morning I got up, I took care of the lawn, and let me tell you, it felt great. I went outside, laid out for a little bit, felt really nice.
Everything's nice and smooth down there. Everything's like airy.
I like it when you shave your balls and then it gets really humid out.
Yeah,
your balls like hang down to your knees.
Dude, it's great.
It's the best feeling in the world.
And now you don't have to worry about them getting all chafed up because you got the toner and everything else as well. You get 20% off with free shipping with the code LIGHTS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code LIGHTS at manscaped.com. 20% off plus free shipping. The code LIGHTS at manscaped.com.
All right, let's do a little news here. There's a bunch of things we can get to, but let's start off with The Flash. Sorry, 1 second. I got where did you send the rundown?
Slack.
Oh, you did send it. I was like, I swear I read it on text messages.
This guy doesn't know how to do business. Slack.
Let's start out. I know I am the Slack man. Andy Muschietti, who's not Italian, by the way. I just want to make that very clear.
Argentinian?
Yeah, he's not.
Although he is Italian, I think his parents are Italian. I think then he grew up in Argentina or some shit.
Okay, then there we go.
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No, I don't. Okay, so I won't preface it as much. Yeah, he's an Argentine filmmaker, but his parents. Okay,
it's something like that. We can make fun of him for being Italian. It's cool.
Andy Muschietti, yeah. He made some ridiculous comments. First of all, we got to stop saying what cameos were cut from movies. I don't. This does nothing but detract from your movie, right? Like, I feel like there's never a positive from this. He said that they cut Linda Carter's Wonder Woman, would have been cool. Marlon Brando's Jor-El, which Marlon Brando is dead. So we'll talk about cameos from dead people when we talk about this movie, and then Cesar Romero's Joker, which probably also easier. Dead. Yeah, probably easier though because of like face paint and stuff. But
yeah.
okay, thanks for telling me the things that could have made the movie bad. It's like,
Would it even made it better, worse? It would have just been
Just accomplishes nothing.
exactly.
It doesn't do anything for me either way.
I mean, but it wouldn't have, I don't think it would have been a negative. It would have been like, okay, 2-3 more cool things to see, I guess, that I didn't get to see. Thanks, I guess.
Yeah.
Remember when Linda Carter showed up at the end of Wonder Woman 2?
Oh, yeah.
Is that
Wonder Woman 84?
Is that the most forgettable cameo of all time?
So fucking stupid.
Yeah.
What a bad movie that was.
What's a cameo that could have actually made this movie better? Like something that would have been just like, oh yeah, cool.
Like if fucking Captain America showed up in this movie, like it'd be like, what the fuck?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt's
I
faux Robin.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it in the review, so I don't want to get too much into it now, but I think Zod was a bad villain for this movie.
Dumb, bad idea.
I think it needed to be a Batman villain. Like I think you needed a Batman villain for this. Like I think it needed to line up more with that.
Well, the Flash kills any Batman villain in 2 seconds. That is the problem.
That's fair, but I think you could have maybe picked somebody. I don't know. Like maybe it's a coterie. I don't know. It just
a coterie of supervillains. Hell yeah!
Right?
Shut up, Peacemaker.
It felt like such a. I don't know. You're right. There's definitely that problem there, so I'll give it that credit. But there needed to be a.
Kind of Doomsday, but they couldn't have done Cavill. So that's the problem.
Why not just reverse Flash? He's a great villain.
Yeah.
It's a Flash's main villain.
True. We're right. Like the Dark Flash and all that. Like is whatever. We're in spoiler. We're in spoilers now for Flash the rest of the way because when it comes up, we got to talk about it. It's a hard movie to talk. It's a multiverse movie. It's hard to talk about it and not bring things up. But I even think like have the Batman villains on the side. And then, the alternate, the dark version of him is the villain. Because I just think Zod is such a, okay, it's Zod. And I guess, we're bringing in Supergirl and all that. But it is strange. Like, even if it'd been like, but that's to my point. It's like, imagine if the main Batman villain was like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze. Like, that would have been, that kind of would have been awesome.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that would have been cool to have like as a side villain or something. But it's like having a metahuman alongside Batman really fucks up the way you do a battle because so you can't have like Superman and Batman. Some comic book people correct me, I'm sure, but you can't have like Superman and Batman versus the Joker because the Superman just kills the Joker. Game's over, right? Or what does he have, Kryptonian?
You got to watch Injustice, buddy, which is technically not canon, but
see, it's not even
Joker kills Lois and basically everyone Superman loves. Defeats Superman.
With the whole movie with talking about like consequences and things not really changing and all that, and that, like there's still ways to pepper those in there even if they're beatable, but like in the end you're still beating the idea of changing time and changing events and all that. So I don't know. We'll get more into the Zod stuff, but that was the cameo comment that he made. Me
and Kinjack have we have a working theory that Michael Shannon
not in this movie
was not actually in this movie. It was actually
given a fuck.
That's where the CGI budget actually went, was just deep faking Michael Shannon into this movie.
Well,
like
he did not give a shit about this movie, but however, it did give us a Criterion meme, I guess, because I'm assuming he did that for part of press of. Did he? Movie.
It's one of the funniest videos I've seen in a while.
So good.
Michael Shannon doing his little thing. I'm such a lucky boy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go home now.
It's a good segue. He says the CGI, Andy Muschietti says the CGI was intentional. So the idea, by the way, the movie looks like
all-time spin zone.
Movie looks like
all-time spin zone. So bad.
Gotta say it in his native tongue. It's the sehe-e.
That's not what it's This isn't like fucking like an X in Spanish or something.
He's Argentinian.
The idea, of course, is we are in the perceptive of the Flash. Everything is distorted in terms of lights and textures. That is the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard in my life.
Spin Zone City right there. Because the thing is, like, yeah, it especially looked like dog shit in the Chromo Bowl or whatever they called it. Like, that looked super bad. But it also still looked bad when they were just, like, fighting in the world versus the Krypton.
The babies were just...
Oh, the babies.
I thought it was going to be a joke at first. I thought it was going to be a joke. And then it turns out, no, these are supposed to be real living beings.
Yes. Uncanny Valley level creepiness. And then the lady, too, because they CGI'd the lady as she was falling. Like, they couldn't even have her, like, fall down and then behind a blue screen. Like, Jesus
I'm going to start using that excuse whenever we edit the dozen and I have, like, a typo or something. I'm going to be like, yeah, that's just the Barstool difference. That's intentional.
Yeah, it's on purpose. You just don't get it.
Yeah, you're not smart enough. That's crazy,
bullshit.
I don't understand how the CGI is this bad when the movie got an extra year and a half of production time. At that point, when you have it finished, do you not just go back and start combing it over and like trying to make it better, or did they just stop once they got those initial test audiences, which everybody talked about, that were raving about it? Did they just quit trying to make the movie good?
And I assume too, like their CGI studio, whatever one they use, can't be nearly as taxed as Marvel is. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure it's not as premier a studio, but like, there's no way they're as busy as they were.
If I had to guess, it's probably the same ones.
That would be funny, actually. They were just like giving all like the interns the work on this movie.
Still, I guess it was colorful, but outside of that, it just looks like what the fuck?
I saw a trailer for fucking Blue Beetle ahead of The Flash. No way is that really coming out?
That's really coming out.
The Blue Beetle is the first DCU character too. That's what James Gunn said.
I'm 100% positive he said that just because he needs people to
go and watch it.
That's one of the only ways.
Dude, it looks not good.
I say that as someone who enjoyed the Blue Beetle character in Young Justice, but like, just do I need to see a solo movie for him to kick off the DCU?
Their sign off, like their big joke at the end of the Blue Beetle trailer was George Lopez calling Batman a fascist.
That joke hasn't been run into the ground yet.
Good one. It's fucking, man, I don't know anything about Blue Beetle either.
I will say that joke gets a laugh in my theater every single time the trailer plays. It's one of those things that really frustrates me.
It's also one of those moments where you don't realize like how disconnected we are or jaded we are at some things like that. Like they just don't see these trailers like when they get released on social and on YouTube or whatever. Like we just see all of these and they get ground into dust.
I saw the Blue Beetle trailer in theaters the first time with The Flash. I'd never seen it in theaters.
I wish James Gunn would just come out and say, yeah, none of this shit is on me. None of it.
He needs to deflect while he still can.
It should say like, not a James Gunn production, not produced by James Gunn at the time.
Yeah, literally. Because 5 years from now, people are going to look back and be like, oh, James Gunn came on and his first movie was The Flash. And just going to be like, no, he wasn't involved at all. But that's how people are going to remember it.
Exactly. You don't want that. He also is part of this problem, by the way, of the pre-hype. He said it was one of the best movies he ever saw.
Oh, for sure.
Which, like, dude, every movie you've made is better than that. Like,
I blame him way less than I blame like the writers and like people who cover this stuff and do it for free. Like
he needs to do this as part of his job.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, like when he was doing the press tour stuff for Shazam, he was just like, "That's Shazam." And like that was like he gave no actual adjectives that were positive towards Shazam. He's just like, Shazam is a movie that is coming out.
Stars Zachary Levi.
Yeah, Shazam 2 coming out soon.
He was in Chuck.
Fucking crazy. We'll get back to The Flash. Pixar CEO Peter Docter says I mean, whatever. We've literally talked about it before, but every time I say it out loud,
it's so funny. Peter Docter.
Recent films have trained audiences that these films will be available for you on Disney Plus. It's more expensive for a family of four to go to a theater when they know they can wait. Elemental is out now. I don't think any of us have seen Elemental.
Heard bad things.
Make sure to get regular STD checks. Put that in at the end.
I have not seen Elemental yet. Audiences seem to like it. Critics are kind of whatever on it. This would be a continued kind of run for Pixar here, which is tough. Pixar's not really bringing people to the box office. Not a ton of. If you're not Spider-Man or Tom Cruise, you're not really going to the box office for you. Or I guess Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put that on Chris Pratt. That's more of Mario and people do like Guardians. But it's really Spider-Man and Tom Cruise ruling the day. I guess this makes sense.
Sure. In a way, but the movies have also just not been that great lately. Like they have not reached the heights that they used to. I think Turning Red probably would have done well in theaters if it ever had. Did Turning Red didn't have a theater release?
No. I don't know. It was a streaming Disney.
Yeah, I think that might have done well, but like stuff like Soul, which was just not for kids. Like we beat that over the head a million times. And Luca wasn't that great. Like
fucking Italians, man, ruining the box office.
He weirdly had like a comment about, and I guess the big criticism.
We know Super Mario Brothers is like destroying the box office. So for every 2 Italians that fail, 1 succeeds.
He did have another comment in there that was just kind of weird because the main criticism I've seen about Elemental is that it's just like the most generic Pixar movie yet. Like it just checks every Pixar like box, like it's like Pixar bingo. And he said, like, yeah, audiences are caught in a weird spot between wanting something new, but also just wanting the same old, same old. It's like, well, you got to make the new thing and like put it out there. Like, come on.
I think blaming the audience is stupid on this one.
Never works.
Yeah, I think there's some cases where that's probably true, but I don't think that's this one.
Is that kind of what the Reddit CEO is doing? He's like, "You fucking losers don't know what you want, you idiots." And he's like going after them or something like that. I haven't been following enough with that, what was going on with that, but I just saw him blasting the Reddit users. Here's the mods. I don't know.
Here's a review that seems like a erasure of. It says Pixar's first rom-com. That's an erasure of Woody and Bo Peep. Won't they for 4 movies?
Yeah,
I thought you were about to say Woody and Buzz.
No, the will they won't
also,
they.
Also too, yeah. They were technically the first bi characters. They say this one has the first one. But
hey, Jamie, can you pull up Woody and Buzz Roll 34 for me?
They definitely have that.
I want to see who. I want to see who's the top and who's the bottom.
I mean, Buzz has to be the top, right?
I don't know.
Just body comp wise. Oh yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, Woody is such a little femboy.
Dude, he's holding his pull string in his mouth like it's a pacifier. Yo, what?
Oh my god.
Dude, I told you.
Woody's the bottom in every single one of them.
Did you wait? What? What is no?
Wait, what is that?
They're shoving him into someone's butt. Yeah, dude, I told you, no fucking way he was going to be the bottom. Buzz is way too burly.
Happy Pride, everyone.
Yeah, happy Pride on Juneteenth.
There's also a couple things from Netflix. The main one being Avatar: The Last Airbender, first look at the live action series. What'd you guys think about that?
It wasn't even really a first look. It was just like a fucking CGI spiel of the like symbols of all the nations or whatever, and then like they showed the pictures of the kids.
Yeah, it's the first. It's the first pictures of.
Yeah, and it's like whatever. Like that's the same thing they gave us with M. Night, and like that turned out to be one of the worst movies of all time. So like I will give you 0 grades until I see at the very least a trailer.
It's like now I guess they look a little more accurate.
Yes, yeah, but like that was never like a huge detractor for me, I guess.
Ong and how did they say their names? Ong and
Qatar and Sokka, and
they said them so wrong in the movie though. I can't remember how they said them.
Oh,
Sokka.
Yeah.
It was Sokka and Ong and
so fucking dumb.
But yeah, now the original creators, they're not involved in this one at all, right? They're doing their shit over on Paramount.
Yeah.
They're doing it animated.
Yeah.
They have the right idea. Like,
Correct.
Keep this shit, like, just keep it. And we're about to talk about another one where it's like some shit just needs to stay animated. And we talked about it with Across the Spider-Verse. It doesn't need to stay animated, but sometimes the animation is just so beneficial to the story you're trying to tell. And I have a feeling this will be maybe not M. Night levels of disaster, but I can't imagine this being anything more than,
This combines two things which I think almost never work in combination, which is kid actors and like an over-reliance on CGI. Like you can't make this movie without a shit ton of CGI and a shit ton of kid actors. And like the chances that all of that works together is so slim, so insanely slim. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I want it to work because I love the series, but still.
I like this one reply to Netflix's tweet of the pictures like, "You have my attention now. I wasn't sure about this. These 4 pictures did it for you." It doesn't.
What did they think it was?
They look like cosplay pictures.
Yeah.
If good cosplay pictures.
If you drove past a billboard of these quick enough, you might go, "That might have been the M. Night movie."
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't even sure. Honestly, at first, I wasn't even sure. I was like, you know how sometimes when you see a tweet or if you see something, it only shows the first picture of the carousel, and you have to be like, "Oh," I was like, first, I realized it was the new one for first. I'm like, hold on a second, is that the new one? I was like, let me open this up quickly. So it's not like it looks that different. The look wasn't great in the M. Night one, but it wasn't like the main source of the issue. Like in terms of like if you took still, if you took like still images of the M. Night one, because the look in the movie did look like ass. That is for sure.
No, the best are like when people see like the red carpet interviews and it's like the most bland answer ever. Yeah. Like I saw one for this and it was like someone like was interviewing the kid playing Zuko and he was like, they're like, "What's your favorite element? Like, what was your favorite element growing up?" He's like, "Of course, fire. I thought fire was really cool."
Oh my
God. Then people were like quoting him like, "Wow, they really nailed this casting."
Yeah.
He likes fire.
Fucking Jesus, dude. It's just, again, I'm holding off all judgment until I see an actual like a legit teaser, not just showing me like CGI fucking symbols.
From anime to live action, manga to live action, One Piece. We got the first look at the One Piece live action. That comes out on Netflix August 31st.
Looks like a giant piece of shit.
This one looks pretty bad.
So stupid, dude. So dumb.
If you gave me a list of like 100 animes and One Piece was one of them, I think it would be the number one. You cannot adapt this into live action.
Yep.
It doesn't work in live action. I'm shocked that even Oda, the creator, signed off on it. They say he's involved in it. I don't think so at all. It does. The whole concept doesn't work in live action. The dude stretches his arms and like his whole power is elastic. Yeah, the whole power is like elasticity, which just doesn't work in live action for the most part. Like they can barely figure it out with Fantastic Four. They're not going to be able to figure it out in this Netflix series either. Let me tell you. And same issue, they're going to have a bunch of kid actors, which no offense to them, like you just, it won't work. It just won't.
It looks like a Nickelodeon or Disney Channel original movie, the teaser.
Exactly. The Zoro look cool, but that's because he has no powers. You know what I mean? Like, how the fuck are you going to do this? It looked like dog shit too, CGI-wise, when they have all the ocean scenes on a blue screen. Looked horrible. They had like this like teeny bopper Gen X kid playing like fucking God damn it, Luffy. Yeah, and he looks like shit. And he's like,
can't believe it's
gum punch. Like it's so or pistol, whatever. So dumb, man.
I can't believe it's not Noah Centineo.
I know, right? It almost kind of looks like him too.
It does. They're doing 12 episodes this season. Episode 1076 just dropped this last year, and it's only like 3 years into the story.
12 episodes.
Like the story really doesn't like cover a lot of like time. Like so, like what are they going to do? Just skip? They either have to skip over just a bunch of shit, or they're going to be doing this forever.
Maybe they do like 3-episode condensed arcs.
This is one of the most like bizarre ideas to adapt. Like I don't understand what the thought process was here.
What was that early arc with the swordfish guy?
Yeah, literally.
Was it? Yeah,
sword. No, it was Fishman Island.
Yeah. I'm like, that's another problem. Anthropomorphic characters. Like, how the fuck are they going to do that?
One of the first arcs is literally just a bunch of fish people.
Yeah. That's going to look so bad, dude. Holy shit.
The best was still going beat for beat Cowboy Bebop to live action, but then they added in like a couple words here and there and a couple lines of dialogue, and like they just stretched it just enough where it was like, what the hell is this?
They just didn't get it. And that was the easiest one out of all the anime to adapt to live action. That's one of the easiest ones because it's just sci-fi. It's regular, like grounded sci-fi, no powers, no demons, ghouls, goblins, any of that shit. Pretty regular stuff. And it looked horrible. The guy who directed this had no understanding of the anime whatsoever. It was so bad. Did they cast Nico Robin yet for that show?
No, because she wouldn't show up until Alabasta.
Sure. So what about
Arabasta, depending on the
dub version? What about Nami?
Yeah, I saw the Nami casting. She was in the teaser.
Is it photorealistic?
No, because she's like 16 at the beginning.
Oh fuck, that's right. Damn it, never mind.
It's not until a time skip when you can look at those.
Okay, so we'll wait until we get Nico Robin.
We'll wait until episode 500, I think, is around when the time skip happens.
Oh, Usopp. I forgot.
Once we get to episode 500 of this live action series.
We need someone so painfully annoying to play Usopp. That's a tough one, too.
Jacob Tremblay.
Maybe he wouldn't be terrible.
Jacob Tremblay should have been Luffy.
Maybe someone with a weird-ass nose, too. Oh, and his older brother's cool. That'd be like, there's parts of this that could be cool. It's just they will never work, ever. Woof.
Here's... file this one under who cares? Squid Game
the first
reality show.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. It's there's a good tweet about that, right? Where it's like someone makes a sci-fi series called like "Don't Make the Deathtron 5000," and then 5 years from then, it's like a big tech company's like, "Hey, look, we made the Deathtron 5000," also so that you guys could see it for reference.
Mr. Beast already did this.
Exactly.
And he did it in a condensed, fun way that kind of got it over with, and you moved on to the next thing. Like, this doesn't need to be this long reality series.
And the whole point of Squid Game was that it was evil and bad and ridiculous. Like, it's
also if we're gonna do
they did a cast announcement for season 2, which I hope the new season's good. It's tough to make a second season on it, but you know what? I'll put the trust in there.
They should have done a Hunger Games reality series. I would like that.
But like you could do like this shit exists. It's like Survivor basically. Like what are we?
No, I want children like, killing each other.
When children murdering each other. Yeah.
Do like other countries, third world countries, not America.
And then the last thing is the Heart of Stone trailer.
The world's biggest fart noise I could possibly muster.
Jamie Dornan and Gal Gadot coming to Netflix. Unbelievable. This looks like absolute dog shit.
Ass.
Directed by Tom Harper, who has
Aeronauts, man. He's the brilliant mind behind Aeronauts, and
this is the classic. We thought we got Paul W.S. Anderson.
Exactly.
They thought they got Tom Hooper.
Yeah, it's funny if you look at this dude, Tom Harper.
Holy shit, with Felicity Jones and Eddie Redmayne.
Look at Tom Harper's face. He looks like fucking like someone tried to draw Tom fucking what's his name, Spider-Man from memory. Doesn't he? Take a look at him. Doesn't he?
He looks like knockoff Tom Holland. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like someone tried to draw Tom Holland from memory. Here, I'll show you, Gage.
Oh my god,
it's too many Toms.
Oh wow, he really does.
Yeah. International intelligence agent Rachel Stone. Oh, this is like.
Yeah, dude, they have MacGuffin in the fucking description.
This is the most Netflix synopsis I've ever seen. International intelligence agent Rachel Stone must embark on a dangerous mission to protect the mysterious MacGuffin known as the Heat. The Heart.
The Heart.
Never good when MacGuffin is in the synopsis.
Like as a positive, yeah, as like part of your press material. Like, here's our MacGuffin for our movie. Dude.
Gal Gadot, with the film being planned to start of a franchise similar to the vein of Mission Impossible.
No thanks.
Keep those movies out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Keep that franchise name
forever.
Get the fuck out of here with that.
What do you want to watch tonight? Mission Impossible, A Heart of Stone 2. How about I fucking jump off a bridge?
Netflix, look, we're about to talk about Extraction. They're probably going to do a second and third. Or a third one.
Yeah, they just confirmed 3.
But I'm not going to. It's not a Mission Impossible, and I don't think that's like the true. Like Sam Hargrave, if we talk to him next time, he's not going to sit there and compare and say that. But Netflix wants to make also extract like these movies, the way they're spending money on these and the stars they're signing, and they're trying to make it. They're never going to make their own Mission Impossible or their own Star Wars or their. Like, it's not going to happen. At least in the current way they're doing it. It's just not going to happen.
Do they have any like good long running franchises that aren't serious? Like what's the longest one? Like the fucking what was the Noah Centineo one? Like not Never Have I Ever. Kissing Booth. I guess
their rom-com series they are great. They last a while. They have a bunch of iterations. They should stick to that.
Franchises made by Netflix?
I think Gal Gadot would be great in a rom-com. Why did she do that? Why is she trying so hard to be an action star?
She wouldn't be good in a rom-com, dude. She can't act. Like these are the closest things she's going to get to being good is when she has to do minimal speaking and lots of action.
I hope that Michelle Rodriguez shows up at the end of Heart of Stone in a fucking submarine.
I still can't believe that happened fucking fast.
Dude, when she came in on a fucking sub, dude.
You guys watch anything the last week? Anything of note? I did mention to you guys the other day before our interview with our interview we did on Friday. I'm sorry, all of my interviews are mixed up. We did 100 of them in like the span of a week. Anyway, R.A. Moyed. We talked about that new movie, that new series of Kaylee Cuoco, based on a true story on Peacock. I did binge the entirety of that on the plane. I finally finished it after that interview. The ending is baffling. I looked for the new episode after it. That's how strong of a cliffhanger it is. I actually went online and I looked up and I said, holy shit, that's the end of the first season. And I would say, I think it's better than Flight Attendant. It's kind of fun and I like some of the actors in it. I think they do a good job. I think she's good, but it is interesting that Kaylee Cuoco is just doing these streaming service like murder shows. It's like such a strange. Yeah,
this is the Peacock one, right?
Yeah, Tom Bateman and Chris Messina though they're in it as well alongside her, and they're all very good in their roles. I mean, I do enjoy it to an extent, but the ending I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like that's the end of the season? But yeah, this one's on Peacock, and then Flight Attendant was on Max. I also watched because you can rent it. Have you guys seen the movie from Charlie Day, Fool's Paradise?
No, I heard nothing but bad things.
It is. It's definitely bottom 10 of the year. It is abysmal. It
That
is
bad?
It is abysmal. So bad. He's in it, and the saddest thing about this movie is that Ray Liotta's in it.
Yeah, that's right. It's again another one of his posthumous roles.
Don't worry, he's got I think he has 10 more movies coming.
Exactly.
You can rent it on Amazon. You can rent it on probably Vudu and other places as well. I rented it. Yeah, this thing stinks. It stinks.
I did the other two off Trill's recommendation series on Max. It's very funny. Very, very funny. It's like two siblings that are in the shadow of their youngest brother, who's becomes a TikTok viral star, like a Maddie B Raps or something. And it's very, very funny. And got to do Righteous Gemstones, which just dropped.
Yeah, I didn't. I forgot to watch it came out last night. Yeah,
me too. They're not doing fucking advertising for it, basically. I didn't hear shit about it. They weren't pumping it on Twitter, on their channels, whatever. Same with Extraction 2, by the way. On Friday, I went to rewatch it at night, and they just didn't have it on their home banner. It wasn't there. That's fucking obscene to me to spend that much money in a movie and not promote it opening day on the front banner. How dumb you got to be.
I don't know what they're doing there, but that's par for the course.
I watched Blackberry.
Very good movie.
Which I guess everyone's been yelling at me to watch that, but very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everyone was right. What do you know? I also rewatched Rango.
I saw that. I saw you were watching Rango.
Fucking masterpiece. It really is.
Fucking right now, the homepage on Netflix, it's Outlander, a show which ended years ago.
I had to search
fucking absurd.
I had to search for Extraction 2.
That's what I'm saying.
I had to search for it.
A movie that they spent so much money on.
I put in EXT and it
still showed up, right? Yeah.
It didn't show up.
The first one showed up. The second one wasn't fucking there.
I was like, what is happening?
I had to type in half the thing to find a movie they just fucking released.
It's like, what?
How dumb do you have to be, dude?
I was so confused. I was like, are they not promoting? For a second, I was like, did this movie not come out?
It's infuriating. And it's funny because now Extraction and Extraction 2 are two of the top viewed movies on all of Netflix. They're in the top 10 grouping and still no promotion.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
They'd rather promote Outlander. Fuck you, dude. Horrible. Them and Max just competing back to back for biggest fuck ups of marketing plans.
Reed Hastings yeah, my wife said Chris Hemsworth was really handsome.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck that guy.
That ballroom dancer must have flipped my wife 10 times. Really bothered me. I was doing New York Times the other day and yesterday, and one of the clues was hey, this guy's a Canadian crooner. I'm like, there's no fucking way. They just brought crooners out of nowhere. Fucking crooners. I'm gonna kill you.
I'm gonna fucking kill you, driving crooner.
Why do they hate it so much? Slade's gonna rip the decals off. Just speeds away. It's so stupid. It's so funny.
All right. Well, I guess we'll do our interview with Sam Hargrave, who directed Extraction 2, which is awesome. Curious what everyone thinks about the movie, but we'll talk about that in a moment. And first, let's talk to the man behind Extraction 2 and another insanely long one take, which fucking rules very hard.
All right. Jeff D'Lo, Barstool Sports. All right, here we go.
Oh, got it. Good.
What was that?
Press record.
No, they're
okay.
Okay. They're
They're recording on their end. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
You can now though. So just do it quick. Okay. All right. We have for the second time, which is quite ironic because it's the second movie. Sam Hargrave, how's it going? Extraction 2. I can't believe we finally got Extraction 2 coming down the pipeline. How's everything going?
Going great, man. Good to be here.
We got to talk to you when this first one came out. Here's a little synopsis if you need it, if you forgot about Extraction with Chris Hemsworth. After barely surviving his grievous wounds from his mission in Dhaka, Bangladesh, Tyler Rake is back. His team is ready to take on their next mission, June 16th. Blew up the charts on Netflix when the first one came out. Didn't know what to expect, and what we got was one of the best action movies that we've seen in quite a long time, and it still holds up to now. But now we have this sequel. But I gotta start off with that. A little different this time. A little expectations. You got a little something cooking beforehand. How are we feeling going into the second one coming out?
Yeah, it's very different once you've had a successful run at a franchise starter. That to have a second one, the expectations are high. So definitely feeling it. But I mean, the part of the challenge with that is letting go of all of those exterior, expectations, and then just trying to looking within and saying, as a fan, ultimately that's what I am. Yes, I'm directing the movie, but I'm a fan of these movies. What would a fan of these movies want to see? And then try to deliver on that as best you can.
How much of your work, especially whether it be second unit on just like a Mandalorian season 2, or your work with all the Marvel movies and with the Russo brothers, how much does that help? Because it's not like you're just a guy who just made a movie and now you're making a second one. You've been involved in countless sequels and second parts of franchise that had to ease a little bit because you've seen the system work before, right?
It was helpful, yeah. My experience and background and having worked with many great directors on many amazing projects. I've had a lot of experience with sequels, even third movies in franchises. So it was very helpful coming into something like this. But, the main goal, the main focus for me, and I know it was for Chris, was to make sure that we were not just delivering on the action, because that kind of goes without saying. You've got a sequel, you got to make the action bigger and better. But how do we dive deeper into the emotional story and try to pay off that a little bit more in the second one as well?
I like your background, by the way. You almost look like you look like you're the architect in the Matrix or something. You get the full white background. That's very cool.
Yeah. In this world, this is my Matrix, and I am the architect of this world for today.
One of the things I went into the movie kind of excited for, I guess, is the long take where everyone was talking about the 14-minute long take. Everyone's going nuts about it. And apparently I was the first person to watch the movie among the press, the final cut. Yep. It was like 11:30 a.m. I'm like, I'm there. Get me into this as soon as possible. So I went to that, and I just love for you to kind of like take us step by step through the, I guess, composition of it. Especially there was one shot which I thought was really cool, and I think they put this in the trailer as well, so it's not like a crazy spoiler or anything. But there's one where you're tracking through the riot in the middle in the giant fight, and then you hook up to I think it's called a snorri cam, where it's hooked up on Chris.
Yep.
I would just love to know how the nuts and bolts of some of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, with the success of the first film and that oneer that we did, I think was 11 minutes and 40 seconds or something in the first film, we knew that we needed to come out and deliver on something similar to that in this film. And it just so happens that when on the page, it came out to be about twice as long. And that was something that took us many months of rehearsals. I think it was 4 or 5 months to really sort out all the details. The technicalities of such a thing are enormous. So many moving parts, both in front of camera, behind camera. So part of the, that technical aspect of the snorri cam that you mentioned was for me, I want the experience for the audience to be immersive. That's kind of the goal of this one shot for me, so that you as an audience member are not just sitting back in the third person and watching and eating your popcorn and being like, oh, that was fun. We're grabbing you by the the lapel and pulling you into the action and saying, hey, come with us for 21 minutes and 7 seconds. This is what it's going to feel like to go on an extraction with Tyler Rake. And so some of the technical aspects that we kind of dove into and challenged ourselves with was, how do we push ourselves beyond what we did in the first one, which was a lot of handheld cameras. And we did a lot of that in this as well, but then we tried to create new platforms, or at least use existing platforms in a new way. And in the middle of that prison riot, we tried to find a way to stitch into from a handheld camera to a more locked in point of view for Tyler Rake once he gets shook a little bit, to just mix it up and give the audience a different perspective of how he's feeling, what he's doing, to check in with the character. And that was one of the challenges for me, was how to follow all these different points of view throughout this 21-minute sequence and try to not lose the interest of the audience.
Mm-hmm. There's another cool part of that too, where you're weaving in and out of the cars. I still have no clue the movie magic behind that.
Yeah,
because that was insane. And I kind of like I guess the end cap on that sequence blew my mind basically. Another one that really I think captured me as an audience member was the rooftop fight, because the entirety when you're on that glass roof and all the weight scenes, because they're in the gym and all that stuff, you really feel like you're walked into the anxiety that I think Tyler Rake's feeling in the moment. I would just love to know how that worked too, because like a lot of that's green screen, but like a lot of it just feels so much more real than most things nowadays with CGI, I guess.
Well, I appreciate that first off, because there's a quite the standard has been set nowadays with action movies. There's so many great action movies, with so many great sequences and directors. So how do you differentiate yourself? How do you stand out amongst the crowd? And I think ultimately it's trying to tap into the connection between the audience and the character. So I appreciate that you felt the anxiety that Tyler felt, because that's the goal. If you're with him where he is and what he's feeling on his journey, then hopefully you'll be hooked and follow him all the way to the end. But the other rooftop sequence and that gym fight that leads up to it, that was a huge challenge, because originally we wanted to do that practically at this location in Vienna, but the wind speeds on that actual rooftop exceeded, at that time of year, just when we wanted to shoot, were exceeding 30 to 40 knots, which is pretty blustery. Too dangerous to have cast and crew up at the 600 feet the height. So we shot a lot of the exteriors there, and then brought a lot of those plates to a set that we built in Prague. And so the challenge was, how, because of this franchise leans so heavily into practical stunts and practical shooting on location, how do we try to make sure this feels real and looks real, and so the experience for the audience, again, is immersive. And so it was an amazing set, one of the biggest sets I've ever stepped onto outside of a Marvel film, and maybe even within the Marvel universe. This was insane. It was, I think 3 stories high of steel and glass, and we had a 360 blue screen, and there were cranes and lights, and it was insane to sort of step onto something like that as a filmmaker and go, wow, this is all for like our story, is pretty wild. But we also had a great visual effects team, and so they were able to get a lot of those plates on location so that everything felt as real as possible. Great DP, matching the lights, and it was a really impressive team effort so that for the audience, it feels real.
Not to get negative here, but is there anything that you weren't able to pull off? Maybe like there was an idea or a shot, and you're like, all right, we don't have maybe, I don't know, the technology. We don't have the thing quite yet. That's an Extraction 3 thing.
Like James Cameron trying to do Avatar. That wasn't here yet.
The Extraction 3 coming out in 15 years. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm no James Cameron, so I'm not really looking with that far in the future and being like, what's something that I cannot achieve? Luckily, this universe is very grounded, or try to be. So most of the technology is definitely available. It's really just pushing the existing technology or using it in such a way that it's a little bit different or a little bit unique to this story. I think one of the things, mostly it was just the kind of the grandeur of ideas, right? Like I remember coming in and being, once I saw on paper what the oneer was, that 21-minute sequence, I was like, how can we make it even bigger? How can we make it even better? So in my mind, I was like, 2 trains. I want to have 2 trains in this sequence. And so a lot of it just became time and, those who were maybe a little more realistic than me being like, let's start with 1 and see how it goes. There's no reason to it's already ambitious. It's a super ambitious shot. Maybe let's temper that a little bit. So, it was mostly just my own ideas that I had to rein in a little bit.
As a director, what changed for you from the first to the second? Was there even like one specific thing you're like, I am not doing that again, or I am going to do that the next time around?
I think the most different thing for me was knowing what was coming, because the first time I'd worked on many shows before, but in a specific department, like the stunt department, even directing second unit. Yes, you're interacting with all the different departments, but not to the level when you're directing the main unit, because the sheer volume of questions was like a tidal wave on that first movie. It was so unexpected. I felt like a switchboard operator on crack, because I had to be fully honed into this sequence and then unplug, because now here come 5 other people that need something to be answered 2 weeks from now. So I had to plug into, all right, what does the special effects need? And fully focus on that, because when you give them the answer, they're going to go do that, whatever it is you say. So you can't just be offhand, be like, sure, put 20 bullet holes on the left side of the red car. And then they're going to do it. And then you get there and why are there 20 bullet holes on the left side of the red car? That's what you said 2 weeks ago. So you have to be very, intentional with what you say in your communication, but it happens so quickly and so fast. I was not ready for that on the first one. So I think this one, the biggest thing was being, all right, there's a lot of questions coming my way. Let's be prepared. Let's be intentional with our communication and try to communicate ahead of time so that everyone can do their job, because it's such a collaborative art form. So many people are involved in bringing all this together that you have to communicate. That's your number one job as a director, is communication and the curation of ideas. And I think I handled that a little bit better this time, only in that I was a little more prepared for what was coming.
Got to go look for those 20 bullet holes in the red car.
Yeah, now we're gonna be, now you shouldn't have said that.
Go back and look. Go back and look on the bridge and just look for that red car.
Every time you watch that first one, you're like, fuck.
Yeah. Oh man. So many times. If you show up on set and go, wait, why is that? Like, that's what you said. And like, yeah.
It was cool to see your growth though for us as fans, because like I think one of the things between the first and the second one, like I feel like the pacing was more, I guess, like tight in the second one, and like you mentioned, the emotional attachment or like tether for us as an audience felt more, I don't know, authentic and like more like I am now 100% like I'm zoned in on Tyler Rake,
right.
and I feel empathy and sympathy for this character. So I feel like that was cool to see as a fan. You know what I mean?
Great.
Yeah, which I think is it's just fun. One of the stunt actors you had on this one, by the way, Daniel Bernhardt. I love seeing him. Anytime I see him in a movie, I know I'm about to see some fucking awesome action.
Yep.
Whether it's John Wick, Nobody, Altered Carbon, it could be like anything like that. I just love seeing him in anything.
He's the best. I mean, and you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm glad you said it that way, because when you see Daniel Bernhardt step into a scene, you're like, oh boy, like some good stuff's happening, because he is. I would say he's, if not the best, he's one of the best actors doing stunts today. And it's crazy because I think he's like in his mid 50s. The dude's in better shape than me by far, and he's just such a handsome guy. We had there were times when the DP and I were laughing because we'd be like, man, we got to push him a little further into the background. He's distracting. He's stealing the scene. So we got to move him away a little bit. And what's even greater about him is when you have him on your set, he came in, he was playing a fairly small role, but he ended up staying for, it was like the whole 6-month shoot, because he integrates himself so seamlessly into the process. He was training our actors. He was, befriending everyone. He's just such a positive energy to have on set. So I think that's one of the main reasons he ends up on so many of these shows, is he's a huge asset to the whole production, not just an amazing actor and fighter.
I like that. It was funny too, because you had him in like the tattoos, the dumb, the dumb, or let's say ugly duck get up, and you still had to get him out of the shot.
Yeah, he's kind of like in a way. I mean, he's like where Hemsworth, you put more blood and dirt, and like you try to ugly him up, and he just gets better looking. That happens. To Bernhardt as well.
Are you upset you killed off maybe yourself in these movies too soon, that you're not in this as a mainstay here?
One of the hardest 3 days of my directing career was from the first movie, when I was trying to direct myself on set. So no, I shot myself out in the first one, no problem. Now I had a little, if you go back and watch, you may have noticed a little cameo in this one. I disguised myself. So I do pop up in this film, a little more Hitchcock, not so much of a main role with dialogue. So I'm in there, but I gained so much respect for the actor directors of this industry, because I'm trying to imagine doing that for an entire feature film or an entire run of a TV show is mind blowing. I only did it for 3 days, and it was the most stressful time of my entire life, because you're like, oh, do I go again because I didn't do a good enough job? Like, you don't want to be I'm going to give myself 7 takes, but this actor, you get 2 takes. You don't want to be too self-serving, but you have to get it right. And it was very challenging and very stressful for me as a director.
The thing that actor director that gets me always is when a more elaborate costume or getup is involved. That's what I can't. That always break my brain, that someone could be in the goofiest costume.
Peter Jackson in Lord of the Rings. That's great. He always does that.
Just directing yourself. It's like, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's an amazing it's an amazing skill, and my respect to all of those actor directors out there.
What's next for Tyler Rake? Because in my mind, Extraction 3 will be like a Birdman 1917 full one. I feel like you're upping the stakes for yourself too much.
Hey, well, I mean, I appreciate you guys saying that. I mean, we have been, steadily raising the bar. So I don't know where you, and the third one, where do you go unless it's the whole thing is the winner? Chris joked about that in one interview and said, well, the first movie, he's like, that's the hardest thing I've ever done. I'm not doing that again. So he came in on the second one. It's like, by the way, we're doing it again and it's going to be twice as long. And it's like, oh gosh. And he did it and did even better. So in this, but also said, I'm not doing that again. So yeah, watch us if there's a third movie, if the fans, so desire, then watch it be, the whole thing be a winner. Who knows? That would be wild and a heck of a challenge.
What is it about this, which is now a franchise, which has to be a cool thing for you to say? It's just like, shit, you went and made this awesome. Actually, now you're involved with the franchise, but then also just and there's something very interesting in common with the other movie I'm about to mention, John Wick. Like it's stunt guys, it's guys from this industry, it's guys from your background. What is it with these franchises, especially Wick, coming off the back of some people think the last Wick was better than the first Wick? How are these continuing, and like what's your mindset and what do you think their mindset is to keep these not just going but the quality up? Because nowadays there's so many of these franchise starters or franchises that continue, that they continue for money but they're not continuing for much quality.
Yeah, well, it's hard to speak to the other filmmakers, but I know for myself, if I'm not continuing to grow as a filmmaker, then I don't want to say what's the point, but that for me, that is the point. If I can keep pushing myself, keep challenging myself to tell better stories and to do a better job of designing action, I think that's when you'd know that the franchise has run its course. So once you've like kind of peaked and you're like, it's like a, an elite athlete where you get to that. It's like Jordan coming back for the Wizards. God bless the dude, and he's the best. But like, it's like, I don't want to see that to keep going. It's like, you want to step out at a high level. And so, but what is that level? We haven't quite reached it yet, I don't think. And hopefully that's the climb that I'm on, like the mountain that I'm climbing, is just try with each story, try to do a better job as a director, try to, further the emotional depth of the character, push myself as an action designer. And, I think that's would be the mindset of the other filmmakers as well, because it's not, for me, it's not about the money. It's not about all the amounts of movies we can make. It's about telling the best story possible for where I'm at as a director and giving my unique point of view. And if that continues to get better, then I think that shows the work that's being put in and the growth as a filmmaker, which is the goal.
Mm-hmm. Before we move on, there's one thing I wanted to note. So my co-host here, he hosts a big trivia tournament or a big trivia show that we do for like 6 months at a time through our company. It's a big show, all the employees. And the day I went to see Extraction 2, I had a match. And one of the questions was, what is the capital of Armenia? And I knew because it was on a fucking title card for the character.
Yeah.
For the antagonist in this. And I was just like, I know this because of a movie I can't talk about because of embargo.
Yeah. That's right. You were under embargo. You're like, I can't say why I know this, but I knew he saw Extraction 2. I'm like, holy shit, he got that from Extraction 2.
Yeah.
Great. Like an ultimate Slumdog Millionaire moment.
Yeah.
Love it. Hey, at least it was helpful. If we can inform as well as entertain.
Yeah.
Now
there you go. You're a teacher too.
Now we're on to something. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. We want to do something we call a 6-pack. It's just a 6-pack of rapid fire questions. You can answer as long or short as you want.
Okay.
So who wins in a fight? Tyler Rake, John Wick, or Ethan Hunt? No guns.
I'm gonna say I'm not going to choose, but I am going to say as a fan, I want to see that happen. You got to get all three of them. It's not just one versus one. This is all three of them in a melee, and I want to see that.
Seems like we could do that.
Make it happen.
There seems
crossover. Come on.
As much everything's multiverse, everything's crossover.
Why not?
Come on. Expendables exists. Like, why not?
Yeah, John Wick's Mission Extraction. I love it.
Exactly. John Wick's Mission Extraction. What's a bit of movie magic behind the first Extraction? Maybe people don't know, whether it be like a technique or maybe an Easter egg that you planted but no one found, something like that.
I don't know if this is just more of a technical, fun thing that I love to talk about. The final sequence on the bridge took 12 consecutive days of shooting. Where first and main unit were shooting at the same time. We literally, when we'd wait for the gunfire to stop on one unit and roll on the next unit. When our gunfire would stop, they would start over 12 consecutive days of madness.
Was the permit on like a very short time?
Yeah,
space?
we had a certain amount of time, and we had a lot of footage, and it's like, all right, guys, we're full throttle from start to finish, and we purposefully put walls of fire between one side of the bridge and the second side of the bridge, so that we could shoot either direction, and we just went all out.
If you could be a stuntman on any movie from the past at all, what would it be? And pretend body comp's not an issue. Like this person can be much larger, much smaller, whatever.
Oh my God. Any movie.
It's tough.
That's super tough. But I'll say I was always partial to Batman. Like if I could have been in the Batman suit, probably of the Nolan franchise, like that would, I don't know. I love that franchise. I thought what he did was amazing. One. Yeah. So to be in the suit as Batman, any of them. Hey, if I get a double Keaton, whatever, just put me in the bat suit for one of those. that would be a dream come true.
I love that. Who's an actor you would love to make an action movie with as a director? Like one you would love to just like make a nice, maybe not a new franchise, but just direct as an action director.
I think Tom Cruise, because he's doing things that no actors except Jackie Chan really has done or is doing, and I guarantee you he would push you to your new limits that you didn't know existed within yourself as a director. So I think that would be a lot of fun.
Hey, dude, don't get us started on Jackie Chan. We're super fans, and like I think we had JJ Perry on probably a year or maybe 6 months ago, and all we did was gush about like Police Story, like Operation Condor, like all these old movies where he's just like breaking his shit.
The kind of crazy thing about Cruise too is that the new Mission Impossible, they have that stunt that he drove the bike off the cliff.
Yep.
And obviously there's the footage of the ramp CGI'd out or whatever, but you almost like if the ramp was still there, it's like it's kind of crazy. You're like, what's the difference? It's still insane.
Yeah, the behind the scenes footage is probably scarier than what's there, because what's crazy is the ramp is so tall. It seems to me it looks like the most dangerous part is the approach to the leap off the ramp, because if you go down or if you veer off, there's no time to pull your chute, but you're high enough to die. And then but in the movie, it's like a slope, so you don't see the danger on either side of that ramp. My stomach was in my throat when I watched the behind the scenes stuff. I was like, holy smokes.
I know. I was like kind of wishing there was like a bowling bumper on the side, like railing or something.
But nothing. It's insane. That's one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Who is a stuntman or stunt or fight coordinator that you think deserves more acclaim? Maybe like they're a little bit in the spotlight and could use more of a name bump.
Oh man, stuntman. We talked about him earlier, but I'm going to say Daniel Bernhardt, because that's someone who has been involved with some of the most incredible franchises and fight scenes in movie history. But he also he coordinated and choreographed a really great fight on this show called Lou, that I think is totally underrated as a designer of action. So I would say Daniel Bernhardt, and in many, as an actor, as a stuntman, as a designer, I think he is totally underrated.
All right, last one. Who's an actor that you've worked with that was the most eager to learn fight choreographs, or just like anything like that?
Scott Adkins. We did. And he's another one who I think is completely underrated. Like all these, questions you have are so great because you have so many different answers you could give. But worked with him on the X-Men Origins Wolverine for the first time back in the day, and you could. There's nothing you could throw his way. No creative concept that he couldn't perform. He was like your own like live action figure. You're like, oh, I want him to do this, and he would do it. And so he took to choreography like a fish to water. That guy is incredible.
His fight in John Wick 4 is one of the funnest, I think, of the entire franchise in the fat suit. It is so goddamn good.
No, he's amazing. But to be able to do that in like all of that extreme, makeup and costuming is super impressive. Like, if you watch his canon of films and his career as a performer, he's one of the most talented and underrated people on the planet.
One of my favorites too is his in Ip Man 4, his fight versus Donnie Yen is so good. I can watch that a trillion times over.
Yeah.
Bonus one. Do you have a definitive action movie of all time?
No, that's like saying what's your favorite ice cream flavor. That's BS. That's BS. That's like. But if I had to choose like ones that I think have inspired me and even this movie, truthfully, would be like the Rambo 1, 2, and 3, like First Blood, the first, First Blood, but then Rambo Part 2 and 3. We don't talk about Rambo after 3, but the first 3, still hold up. That character, I think, is awesome.
I think the third one, he was like fighting with the Taliban, wasn't he? Or something like that? Or the Mujahideen at the time?
Yeah, the Mujahideen soldiers, yeah.
Yeah. I will say, like, if you were to go through like the staple genre, not like the genres, and I don't mean just like drama, but if you went through them, I do think for me, action is the hardest one to parse out.
Oh, for sure.
Like even my top 3, because there's so many styles and everything, and when I argue for one, I'm like, well, but then there's this. Yeah,
you can't, because you can go down and like you guys probably spend an entire show on just Hong Kong action cinema, but split that up into how about the best Jet Li movies? Pick one. How do you do that? Jackie Chan movie. Pick your favorite. That's almost impossible, and that is a subgenre of the action genre. I think that's that question. It's a great question, but almost impossible to answer definitively.
Well, we are in a great era of action movie. Extraction falls right into that, and now we get Extraction 2. Thank you so much again for taking the time to talk to us. Check out Extraction 2, June 16th, and Extraction 3, I guess. I hope we talk to you in 2 years for the full one-take movie? Is that?
Hey, we'll see. The fans willing, we'll see.
Just like with this one, instead of it being like, was it Tyler Rake lives? Just be like, yeah, Tyler Rake's still alive. Like, just so you know.
Still living.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you so much, man.
Cheers.
Brought to you by BetterHelp. Getting to know yourself can be a lifelong process, especially because always growing and changing how you cope with maybe trauma, traumatic events, things that may be going on in your life. Everyone has a different way of doing it, but it's hard to figure that out if you're not talking to someone. And therapy is a great way to do that. Deepening your self-awareness and understanding of things that are going on. Sometimes we don't know what we want or why we react the way we do or how we should react or what's the best way to react to cope. Or just handle things. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who can take you on that journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. And that's the big thing. I don't like going to therapy, doing it online. Great. You can do chats, you can do phone calls, you can do video calls. You don't have to see anybody if you don't want to. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/life. BetterHelp, HELP.com/life. Get 10% off your first month. All right. Shout out to Sam Hargrave. He was awesome. Also check out My Mom's Basement. They have an interview related to Extraction, and so does KFC Radio. There's obviously with Chris Hemsworth. Everybody kind of hit the Extraction cycle there. Let us now talk about the movie Extraction. I'll lead off. And I think this movie is a bit of an improvement off the first one. I gave the first one a 76 out of 100. I quite enjoyed the first one. I do think this one dives a little more into the character stuff. Not a ton. I think they're still scripted. This is not a great script by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think that's fully the point. But I like this one a step up from the first Extraction. I think it was better. I think maybe the first one felt a little simpler. And I think with sequels, going crazier is not always the best thing, but I do think it works here. And I kind of like the way they honed it in. I kind of feel like they, I guess, quote unquote, understood the setting and the characters and the story even better the second time around. So I quite liked Extraction. I thought it was awesome. Critics like it more, audiences like it more, which I was surprised at. I didn't know what to expect when I looked that up this morning. I gave the first one a 76. I'm giving Extraction 2 an 80 out of 100. I really liked Extraction 2. I thought it was fucking awesome. And we'll talk more about that one day. Gooch, you tweeted it. An absolute crime against humanity that this movie is not something that you could really see in theaters too. What a shame.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one here that saw it in theaters.
Seriously, you're very lucky.
Yeah, and it was awesome. It was just me. It was just me in a fucking giant theater with a dude running the board behind me for all the audio and all that shit. It was awesome. I'm right there with you. It is. I think it's for sure an improvement on the first one in a couple ways. I think the first one took a lot of pauses. You know what I mean? Like, it's obviously a lot of action, but the first one took a lot of moments to stop and collect everything. You know what I mean? And this one really just I think focused on what it did well. Right. And really hammered that home more, which we talked about recently. I forget what movie we were talking about that did that, but fucked up in their reasoning in that. What was it? We were reading a movie where they heard what people liked and Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
And they just hammered home too much. I think Extraction realized it and they really they capitalized a lot on what works about the franchise.
Well, luckily for this, more action is awesome. Where that one was being more cornball weirdo is it just ended up being strange.
Exactly. I think it was for sure an improvement on the first one. I think the action scenes in this are on par with some of the best we've seen in the last 10 years. The Oner is as great as it gets, pretty much. I think the villain here was way better than the villain in the first one. The villain in the first one was like not really a huge factor. But the villain in this one, like those Russians or Georgians rather, are super cool. Like I think the people that they cast as all those bad guys, including Daniel Bernhardt, which we talked to Sam Hargrave about, I just love these dudes. Just perfect, scary looking guys. Great little mini story to like give them like an actual sort of emotional grounding for you, like following along Tyler Rake and like him trying to kind of get redemption for himself, but also like have a legitimate reason to extract these people. But the Wonder fight scene in the prison, so fucking cool. He's on fire. He's beating people to death with a fucking dumbbell. He's on a train. Now he's in a car. Now he's shooting people. Now he's fighting people with a knife. Now he's stabbing someone with a broken off shovel. Like, it was fucking crazy. That was one of those like innovative action sequences I think I've ever seen as far as a Wonder goes. To go across that many different settings and that many different types of combat, that many different like vehicles, like I thought that was insane. The roof fight in this on the glass roof in Vienna was so good. Absolutely awesome shit. And we were just talking about it before. The scene where the guy's on the incline squat and Tyler Rake just kicks it and it fucking collapses on him. So goddamn great. And I also liked the new addition, the brother. I thought was pretty cool. I think like his addition and then him dying too was like a good emotional addition to the movie. Really, really, really liked it. I ended up on an 85 out of 100. I really liked it a lot. I think it was like I think it's about 10 points higher than I had the first one. I think a really good improvement and also a good tease for the future. I think having Elba in a franchise like this is smart.
Right.
And like he's like the type of guy that fits in this perfectly. And like I'm very excited to see what they do in the third one because I think that we were talking with Hargrave about that. Like we saw his growth as a director between these two movies, and like he strengthened a lot of areas where it was maybe a little weaker, less tight. And he really, I think, did a fantastic job with this one. So now I'm even more pumped for the third one. Super excited for that.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed this more than the last one. Not much more. I think I'm right with you, Jeff. 5 points higher. I'm at a 75. Last one a 70. These movies are simple. It's shocking that so many streamers have failed to make this movie. It feels like all of them have tried, especially Netflix have tried with The Gray Man, Triple Frontier. I'm forgetting some, but these just generic popcorn action movies. And that's what this is. It's very generic. I mean, it hits almost all the tropes you'd like to see in an action hero, but it works. Chris Hemsworth is just very charismatic. He's used perfectly. Like they use his physique and they use his like Aussie charisma so well. And I almost enjoy him more as Tyler Rake than I do as Thor. He's great in this role. And then Sam Hargrave, the real star of the show isn't the dialogue. It's these big action set pieces, this awesome fight choreography. And Sam Hargrave is trying to push the limits of what he can do on a streaming movie with the camera work. I mean, I don't know if you guys, I haven't listened to the interview yet, but I don't know if he broke down how they pulled that one take off. But that was just like, because you get 10 minutes in, you're like, holy shit, they're still going. And then you're 15 minutes in, you're like, we're on the train, we're still fucking going. It was mind blowing, and they did it early on in the movie, so you're immediately pulled in. And yeah, I like the villains a little better this time around. Not the kid as much. Not the kid was bad actor. I just like the kid from the first movie. He was fun. He was a little funny guy.
Some of those hand-to-hand fight scenes were just like him hitting Chris Hemsworth in the head with a box of nails.
Yeah,
like throwing each other through these like giant like wooden structures. There's nothing about this movie I could say I disliked.
The gym, you brought up the gym fight scene was fun. Like I don't think I've ever seen that in an action movie. It's just fun to think of like what you could do with a fucking press machine. Or
you know what character I really liked was the comically large like Kingpin dude. Like one of the henchmen of he was just like the tiniest head and the largest roundest body, and he was holding like this like fucking saw in his hand, and it looked like a kid's toy. I love shit like that, and I think that he did so well putting all that shit together. And he's just cool, dude. Like Chris Hemsworth's just a cool dude.
He's very cool. There's really no way around it. He's cool as fuck.
And him recovering from that insane amount of bodily trauma, but basically just like doing a few push-ups and pushing a sled. It's just like, yeah, I'm good to go. That's perfect, dude. Like that's perfect for this type of character.
He had the ACL brace on.
Yeah. He had the ACL brace on, and he's just pushing a sled full of rocks, and he's like, yeah, I'm good.
It's great.
Perfection.
You're right. There is something to this that is, I think a lot of it is getting the right filmmakers too, and letting them execute their vision, because you can tell just from our interview with Sam Hargrave, we talk about like when people get it. Like I always reference like Damon Lindelof with The Watchmen, even though Watchmen much different than the book, but like there's still like there's something to, or if you've read the graphic novel and you watch Watchmen, you're like, oh shit, this guy gets it at levels that are kind of insane. Like you can still say that about things, that are fresh properties, which are original properties. Or this is based on a book as well, but I'm saying like that are not as like these big grandiose Star Wars or Marvel or DC. And you can just tell that Hargrave kind of gets what he's making here, and he has a good grasp of it, but a good grasp in a way to make something that the audience will like and improve upon it and take it to the next level, but still stay true to what makes it good in a way that doesn't make it ridiculous and comical, kind of like you referenced with Ted Lasso. So this is, we've kind of shit on Netflix this episode, but like this is one of those things where like I think they need to pull back and maybe stop doing the weird, goofy action movies that try to create a billion multiverses and universe, even though I'm going to bring something up with this movie in 2 seconds. Yeah. And maybe, focus on something more like this, market this bigger, make this a bigger deal, make this something you look at. I thought it was awesome. But I will note, there are people who think that Idris Elba is playing Luther in this movie. And then it's tied to Luther.
Fucking no way.
I've never watched Luther.
That makes no sense. That makes no fucking sense at all.
I don't know enough about Luther, but I saw
Netflix owns Luther too. I didn't even think about that. Damn.
They're like the way the character's portrayed, the way he acts, like what if he's Luther? Because I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny when I saw that.
What would Netflix call their like?
He's a bad guy.
Because remember, Luther is a Netflix property now.
Because that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
What would Netflix call their Avengers initiative? Like what are they calling that?
Like Action Boys.
I'm here to talk to you about the Tadum initiative.
Dude, I'm here to talk to you about it.
No.
Team Action.
He's not Luther. Not Luther at all.
What does he say?
They came around and said he was Luther. What if they were like, hey,
and they're just trying to. Yeah, you may as well have like 11 in the movie next. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just fucking put all your Netflix fucking characters that actually made. Have Frank Underwood in Extraction. That's where the money's made right there.
Jason Bateman's our finance guy.
I'll say Tyler Rake.
Tyler Rake. Meet your new associate, Donald Blythe.
Senator, Vice President. Vice President Donald Blythe or Kathy Duran. That's his new handler, Kathy Duran.
Tyler, we're gonna have Doug Stamper look after you now.
Doug Stamper would at least make more he'd be a handler if he worked for Frank. Yeah, like that would make sense. Actually, I think didn't he die?
In the fourth season, which I don't recognize the fourth season. I think Claire, who's the president in the moment, kills him in the Oval Office.
Really?
What does Idris Elba say at the end of this? He's like, "Wait till you meet my boss." That was Australian. He's like, he's a gnarly. What does he say? He's gnarly.
Yeah, something like that.
Who's a gnarly Netflix character?
Wednesday Addams.
Wednesday Addams is the.
She's the big fucking.
She's the El Chapo.
Actually, fuck. Jim Hopper was in the first first Extraction.
Wait, was he really?
Fucking yeah, he was. He was like this
the whole time.
Yeah, he's in the first one. Chris Hemsworth kills him in the first Extraction.
That's where he's been.
Where's some of these other ones? Fucking no way. I'm just going through a giant list of all of the Netflix characters. Some of these, like, I don't even recognize at all. Jesus Christ.
You're gonna fight the sister nuns?
Johnny Lawrence from Cobra Kai.
Maybe it's time you come over here, Tyler Rake. Tyler Rake, welcome to the kissing booth, my friend.
Yeah. Geralt of Rivia coming to your rescue. Bojack Horseman.
What was that stupid we talked about the other day? Tyler Rake, your new target is Sarah Burgess. What was that stupid?
Yeah, Sarah Burgess must be eliminated. Instead of like, what's it? Sarah Burgess is a dumb loser. It's like Sarah Burgess must die. Who are these characters? These aren't Justin Foley, Jen Harding. Who are these people?
Need you to kill the Dairy Girls.
Yeah, the Dairy Girls. One of the Dairy Girls was in The Flash.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
She didn't have an Irish accent though, so it wasn't like nearly as.
You need to kill the Queen's Gambit. We could do this. We could make this a new. Oh, fucking! Actually,
you need to kill Rachel Stone.
Kill this guy. Joe Goldberg from
No, because
You.
even if
Dude,
they did this, they'd still be like the main characters, like the Heart of Stone character, Gal Gadot. They wouldn't even use their they try to make the ones nobody cares about the popular characters. Like you'd be asking for all of the Stranger Things, but then you'd get like no, it's gonna be 6 Underground again. It's like their characters lead the pack.
Yeah. Oh, fucking 6 Underground. They made so many bad action movies. It's incredible. Like for the amount of money they spent on these, like Red, right? That was them.
Red.
Like they spent so much money on all of these.
Red Notice. Red
Notice. Yeah, Red is the Bruce Willis one.
What's Mountain Men with Ben Affleck and Oscar Isaac?
Triple Frontier.
Triple Frontier. Mountain
Broderick, your next mission, you got to go to Paris. There's a little girl called Emily. We need you to see.
So you're saying she moved to Paris and she didn't know any French?
Didn't know a single word of French. Started fucking these French dudes while she's working at this place.
You're saying she's in Paris?
I just looked at the worst Netflix characters, and that was the first one. Was Emily in Paris?
Nominated multiple times.
Yeah, what a fucking joke.
All right, so that's Extraction 2. We all seem to like it. Only real downside, I think, is like I just wish I saw this on a big screen. Like that, it sucks. I get why, and there is a trade-off, and this is not even a knock on Netflix. This is more of a credit to Netflix. Like Netflix is allowing a movie like this to be made with the budget that it has and the ability to do this kind of crazy shit. It's just a bummer that it comes at the cost of not seeing in theaters.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, again, that's not a criticism of Netflix. Like, I think Netflix deserves the credit here for doing something like this, and like they're why this is made, and they're why this is something that we can see on kind of a wider scale. But you do wish you could see it in theaters because it is fucking awesome.
Tyler, we're sending you to the Outer Banks.
I would love to see him kill John B.
He crushes John B on the Smith machine. Oh, please, Netflix. If you're going to do anything, do that, please.
ZocDoc. That's how you find doctors in
love
in
ZocDoc.
places. ZocDoc's great, by the way. I didn't know this was our sponsor until just now. It took me like 15 minutes to find it there. Sorry about that. ZocDoc's the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, all available when you need them. Treat almost every condition under the sun. We're a pretty sick podcast. We have been for a long time.
I'm sick right now, bro. I don't know how. I don't know how it happened.
You are like your superpower is attracting illness.
Dude, and the worst part is my girlfriend's coming back from a Disney or bachelorette party of Disney adults and tomorrow, and I'm going to get even more sick from whatever she contracted there and brought back. It's going to be even worse, bro.
I think I have
hopefully not gonorrhea.
I think I have the Timothy Chalamet strain of chlamydia right now. Feeling very moody.
I want to go
Use
smoke a
ZocDoc
cigarette.
then. No more Dr. Roulette for you. We're scouring the internet for questionable reviews. I don't even need to read the notes here unless there's something specific I say at the end. Yeah, I do.
Best, dude.
ZocDoc's very easy. You just go on the website of their app, especially if you're in the city. Moving too is a big thing. If you move and go to like change doctors and find things, impossible. Like I had to go to like an ear doctor. I can't hear anything anymore. ZocDoc, very easy way to go do that. If you need something in a pinch, if you're in a different city, easy to schedule appointments, easy to cancel appointments, easy to reschedule, move them, filters with your insurance. ZocDoc's, it's as simple as it gets. Go to ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/lights and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many available within 24 hours too. That's the other thing. Very speedy. That's ZocDoc.com/lights, LIGHTS, ZocDoc.com/lights. Great way to get a doctor. I've been using it for a year. I've been in the city for like 10 years. Ever since I first heard about it, which I don't know how long I've used it, but it's been a while. It's probably 7-8 years. Probably as long as they've been around.
Let's talk about The Flash now. The Flash, which is not part of the DCEU from James Gunn. They've been trying to make this movie for years. Here's the synopsis.
Decades.
Decades. Loosely based on Flashpoint. Worlds collide when the Flash uses his superpowers to travel back in time to change the events of the past. However, when his attempt to save his family inadvertently alters the future, he becomes trapped in a reality with General Zod, as returned from Man of Steel, threatening annihilation. With no other superheroes to turn to, the Flash looks to coax a very different Batman out of retirement, played by Michael Keaton, and rescue an imprisoned Kryptonian, who is the cousin of Superman, Supergirl, albeit not the one he is looking for. Full spoiler, by the way. Just a full-ass spoiler for this.
Mm-hmm.
This, for a long time, had a bunch of different directors tied to it. Rick Famuyiwa was one of them, dropped on and off. I've been trying to make this movie since the late 80s. Through 2014, things, were different in different ideas and actors and roles and people, whatever. And then as the DCEU started to be developed in the mid-2010s, a lot of those names I mentioned were attached to it. Eventually, Andy Muschietti was put on board. Ben Affleck coming back as Batman, Michael Keaton returning as Batman 89, in multiverse stuff. Other people in the movie, Ezra Miller again back as Barry Allen / the Flash. They play a bunch of different Barrys here, which just from trailers. Sasha Cale plays Supergirl, who is pretty solid, by the way, in the role.
Yeah, Cale. Is that how you say it?
Is it Sasha Cale? I'll learn how to say it properly. She deserves my respect. She's really very solid. Michael Shannon back as General Zod, potentially.
Was he really?
He has come out and said he doesn't really care. He doesn't like it. He's
Man, Michael, we couldn't tell.
Oh,
we couldn't tell at all.
It is Kaye. You're right.
Sasha Calle, there you go. Apologies to her. She was great in this. Ron Livingston as Henry Allen. Billy Crudup was initially this character, but could not return because of scheduling conflicts for the morning show, which is still going.
Boo.
Even though he is great in that. He is the one good part of that show. He's very good as that network executive. I love Billy Crudup in the morning show. A bunch of other people in smaller roles. Kirstie Clemens, the Iris West, Small Thing. Maribel Verdú as Nora Allen, Barry's mother, who was murdered in his youth, which is a big part of the movie. Michael Keaton, as you mentioned, back as Bruce Wayne / Batman for the first time since Batman Returns. Pretty awesome. I will note that. Whether it was worth it or not, I don't know, but it is awesome seeing him play Batman again. Ben Affleck back as Batman. There's someone else. Again, spoilers. The last time I'm going to say it. George Clooney returns as Bruce Wayne. At the end of the movie, which is kind of fucking awesome. That is an awesome scene, I have to say. It gave me some goose, which is crazy. It gave me goosebumps from a piece of shit movie, but it was like the early part of my childhood. Like I grew up with those movies, so it was kind of cool to see. And then a ton of other people. Jason Momoa, small role. Ken Jack, I actually know. I had a mole inside the theater who confirmed to me you stood up and clapped when Gal Gadot returned as Wonder Woman in this movie.
Yes, when she threw that, when that lasso came down and saved them. And
when I heard that
in the music,
you just went, yes!
Dude, the score really is fucking awesome. It's such a shame. It probably will disappear with the DCU, but that score is like...
It's a good one, no doubt about it.
She every time she shows up now in every cameo, she just comes in. She just
gives a face, and then leaves.
She kind of nods.
Yeah, and everyone just points and goes, like, and then she goes away. It's like, whatever. We'll get into it more later.
And then there's a lot of cameos. Henry Cavill, Superman, is shown very basically from the back.
Can we call these cameos?
Nicolas Cage.
Earnestly?
Nicolas Cage makes his first full appearance as Superman, kind of. It's like super CGI. These are all CGI, basically.
Fighting a spider.
Fighting a giant spider. If you've never seen The Death of Superman Lives, it's an amazing documentary about the Nick Cage Superman movie. I highly suggest you go watch it. It's a fascinating story, and it ties into Wild Wild West, and it's craziness. So definitely check that out. It was cool to see Nick Cage as Superman, sort of, even though it was very gooey looking. Other people involved, not really. He's dead. Christopher Reeve is Superman.
Yeah.
Very CGI'd. Helen Slater's Supergirl. There's some Adam West Batman archival footage. George Reeve as his version of Superman. There's some other things in there which I couldn't even confirm I saw. I know they have the Jay Garrick, the Flash, the Golden Era Flash or whatever.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Tom Holland is Cherry.
Yeah. So there's a lot of those. Um, I will.
No Grant Gustin. No Grant Gustin.
One cool multiversal thing, which I do like. I do like the Eric Stoltz is in Back to the Future reference. I thought that was pretty
that was
funny.
great. Yeah, really
I
like
thought
that.
was in it. Moves to like Kevin. It moves to Michael J. Fox being in Footloose and then Kevin Bacon being in Talk. I thought that was pretty cool. I like that. This movie is fine. It's fine. I had fun with it. Like I said earlier in the show, I think it's the 7th best DCEU movie. I'm going to give it a pretty blanket 75 out of 100. I think it's fine. That's just below Aquaman, Man of Steel. I think it's not as good as Black Adam. I enjoyed Black Adam more than I enjoyed this movie. Also, Black Adam doing better at the box of the Black Adam, by the way. Maybe Black Adam didn't do as bad as we thought. This movie bombed, by the way. The Flash bombed. Shazam better. Zack Snyder's Justice League much better. Wonder Woman much better. And The Suicide Squad's my favorite DCU movie, which is a good thing to note because that is done by the guy now running the DCU. So I'll say 75 out of 100. Sorry, it was a long, like everyone in the movie, but I wanted to kind of get all that shit out of the way because we got to talk more about the hype than anything else. It's fine. I think it has a lot of the same multiversal problems that these other multiverse movies have. Or on the flip side, why Spider-Verse is so good. I think the villain issue really plagues this movie. I think Gooch, you nailed it. I think like Dark Flash is a significantly better main villain to make like kind of the crux of this. With like the background villain should have been, I think, a Batman villain because I just think Zod could not have fit any worse in this movie. Even though I do like Supergirl, I think she's very solid as Supergirl. Sasha Kaye, I think she's really good in that role. So 75 out of 100. This is I cannot believe people call this one of the best superhero movies of all time. I'm stunned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think it's I would say a good movie. It is nowhere near like the level of hype that was given to it at all. Like nowhere close. Like if you think this is one of the best superhero movies ever, you're an idiot. Like you're a straight up idiot. If you think it's even like if you think it's the best DCEU movie, I would still say you're an idiot because like the Suicide Squad is heads and tails above anything else in the DCU by far. And
heads and tails.
Heads and
shoulders.
Heads to shoulders is longer than heads to tail. Heads to shoulder or heads to tail. That's more of your body than it is head to shoulder. No, it's not. You're correct.
I do think that the saying is head and shoulder, but I kind of like heads and tails. It's both.
Heads
both
to tails.
The coin better.
Tails, even better.
Yeah, well, that's the entirety of the coin. You have no coin left for the Flash.
I'd say it's heads and feet.
Yeah, heads to feet better than anything else in the DCEU, and that applies here a lot. I think this movie does a better job than like probably 90% of the DCEU does at like giving you an actual emotional base because whatever you want to say about Ezra Miller, incredible acting in the moments that they needed it in this role. Everyone else, I think Keaton being back as Batman was cool. Like I think it was interesting. And I'm glad that they gave him more than just a cameo. Like they gave him like legit speaking roles and like a part to play that was important in this. Like you said, Sasha Kaye, I thought was really cool as Supergirl because it was just like really super like a badass. You know what I mean? Didn't have like to do a crazy amount with the plot, but just was badass and cool in her fights for Sod. CGI is, I think, one of the biggest detractors of this. And like whatever you want to say about like if you believe the Muschietti excuse of like it being purposeful or whatever, it's like uncanny valley weird. It's really fucking off-putting. And like if you wanted it to be like, hey, you're in the multiverse, shit looks weird. Don't do CGI like that. Make it like an animation or some shit or like some distorted image. Like you don't do a PS3 cutscene level graphic of someone if you want it to be like looking through a multiverse lens or something like that. I think it was super, super fucking weird. And it threw me off a lot, both in the moments that they were in the Chromo Dome thing and also when they were outside fighting in the real world. Like Gooch mentioned before, the baby scene is fucking awful looking. The humor here, I think, was a real crapshoot. Like, I would say it's about a 50-50 hit rate. And the 50% that hit was like really good. Like, really made me laugh, like the Eric Stoltz stuff and some other lines like that. And then there were a lot of other ones where it was very much like, well, that just happened type of shit.
Yeah.
Like the fucking building collapsing. He has a line there where he's like, what's that sound? What's that weird sound? Oh, the building's collapsing. It's like, that shit sucks. But like, I think solid third act.
for the movie, for whatever that's worth. I agree, villain problem is very prevalent in this, and I think they could have done a better job of like kind of going across. Again, whatever we think of the DCU, which I don't think much of, like you could go across so many different points in time in the DCU, almost in the way that they do in Endgame with like time travel and shit. Like you could have done something like that and maybe touch some different points throughout DCU's history instead of just kind of giving a vague, oh, here's really awful looking Nick Cage and really awful looking this and that and that. That part's weird. I don't get, like, the George Clooney cameo is cool, but I don't get how that will now play in the future for DC and James Gunn's DC.
There's some rumors.
I got no fucking clue because that's like one of the famous things Clooney always says, like his biggest regret is like playing Batman. So I don't see
maybe not anymore.
Yeah, maybe now that's gonna be good. So like it's a good movie, lots of entertainment. Some of the fight scenes are really solid. Some of them look like shit. Some of the Speed Force stuff really goofy looking. Like great example of the humor working when he thinks he's like his powers are still there and he's doing a goofy ass run. Yeah.
Like, yes, making fun of the stupid Ezra Miller run.
Exactly.
Like, very funny. Like
that stuff works. Other stuff just doesn't. If any of these homers from those early CinemaCon screenings that said this is one of the best comic movies of all time, or one of the best even DC movie, or the best DC movie ever made, like do not listen to them ever again on anything. Like you cannot be trusted anymore, forever, in perpetuity. If you said any of those things about this movie.
My only explanation outside of like getting like for doing favors and like getting paid is like maybe they didn't know any of the cameos going in. So when you see that initial, like maybe they didn't know Michael Keaton was going to be in this. And so when you see Michael Keaton, you're like immediately just fucking floored by it.
But even then, that's a problem for this movie in a sense, because like with cameos, I always think about like the movies like The Train that's moving. Like the second you stop, like if you have to stop and point out things to your your tour guide, like, hey, look, there's that thing. Hey, look, there's that thing. Like that's bad. If it works with the flow, like I think Keaton worked with the flow. Like if that's good, but I think it hurt more than anything in some points.
You know,
I mean, look, we're victims of that too. Not victims, or we're guilty of that. Kendrick and I've done it in the past. I've done it before. When you go to a screening, you definitely come out of it in a different sense than maybe other people out of a regular movie. You're going at the you know, you're not doing it to please the studio, but I think you get kind of caught maybe accidentally in the hype because you are going to a screening and you're with the studio, and like there's something else to it that you maybe hype it up a little more. If you go to a premiere, especially, like the crowd, the energy, it's different, and you leave and you may think a little higher of it than maybe you should. With that said, what feels like unbelievable hyperbole and exaggeration. I mean, fucking David Zaslav is so full of shit. It's unbelievable. The guy who runs.
Can't believe a word that asshole says.
What a piece of shit that guy is. So I just, again, I'm guilty of it too. I'm not like getting out ahead of this. I know, like we've said this before, like you sometimes hype up these premieres and these screenings more. And I do think that probably happened here, but then there's just a level where it kind of went a little further than I think I ever expected. I'm like, what the fuck are these people talking about?
Mm-hmm. I truly, it's just one of those things. I don't think I'll ever understand the hype train behind this movie. I don't, because this movie is more or less just I put it in my review. I think this is just a distillation of the DCU. Like there's the good points are like, it has great action. At points, it does have fantastic action, which the DCU has been able to deliver in spurts. Has great, like, darker emotional beats, which I think has been something DC's been able to do versus Marvel. They've been able to do that at points. And then, like you said, it's funny at points. It does have actual funny moments. But, god damn, I mean, if you haven't seen this and you're just listening to the review and you're just one of those psychos that doesn't care about the spoilers, and you think we're overstating how bad the CGI is in this movie, we're not. It is truly early 2000s bad CGI. Really like bad. It is fucking terrible, and it's fucking uncanny, and it's unsettling. The just head scratching decisions of the cameos. Like I never really understood what purpose are they serving there. Like you said, other than to just point and say, "Oh, there's Christopher Reeve." Mm-hmm. Sure, awesome, and just very unbalanced. Like Michael Shannon. He didn't give a shit. He didn't give one shit about being in this movie. Literally. I mean, just awful. And it's even more stark when he's going up against Sasha Calle, which is our final verdict on her last name. and she's giving it her all.
So Google
she's trying her hardest. I mean, I thought she was a high point of the movie, along with Keaton's Batman, and Ezra was good at points. I thought too. His run still annoys the fuck out of me. I actually think the running would look good, like the way it looks when he's like running through the Speed Force and shit. I think that would look cool if it wasn't for the fact that he's running like, I don't even know what to call it, like somebody who's never run before.
Yeah.
Like it's like watching like an alien who gets a skin suit and is like, oh, this is how you're supposed to run. I don't know.
It's really fluid. It's really hard to explain, but like not like fluid mechanically. Like he looks like he's running underwater.
Yeah. Good Lord. I'm ready for the good DC. I'm just ready. Also, they changed so much shit, and DC's just, why don't they do the adaptations the way they were put on screen in the animated universe where people loved them? Like Flashpoint, one of the big things in Flashpoint is instead of meeting a Bruce Wayne Batman in the alternate universe, what he meets is a Thomas Wayne Batman. So it's Bruce's father. And what had happened in the alley, the crime alley with Joe Chill, was he shot Bruce instead of his parents, and his mom becomes the Joker. And so Thomas Wayne is like this tortured Batman who kills people. And he ends up at the very end of the movie giving him a letter to give to Bruce. And it's like this great emotional moment that's just completely lost when you change things around. There's just, I don't understand it. I really don't. And I'm not very confident in Muschietti's work heading into Brave and the Bold, but James Gunn likes him. So
I will say it was a very tough act to follow when the Flash entering the Speed Force won an Oscar. So like that's a really tough one if you're making the Flash. Like, how do you follow that up? I don't know. One of the greatest moments in cinema history.
Ken Jack's favorite movie scene of all time: Flash entering the Speed Force. Flash entering the Speed Force.
Not just me. That's obviously voted into the Oscar-winning category.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the buying into Muschietti to do these next movies is a little concerning.
Yeah.
I wonder what James Gunn saw here, because none of this feels like something James Gunn would like.
It's the exact opposite, if anything.
Yes.
But like that's what we were saying before, where it's like when he was talking about Shazam 2, it was just like zero description, really. Just like Shazam 2 is coming out. Shazam 2 is great, but like he gave so many hyper positive reaction. Maybe he was just playing off of the amount of positive hype that came out of CinemaCon. You know what I mean? Like, oh well, if these people like it, I'll just hype it up as well. Yeah. But like it was at the end of the day, he has to rep it. I mean?
I'm shocked that Muschietti's getting the Batman movie after this. Like,
yeah,
I really am
it's
shocked.
mind blowing now. Like, I am shocked as well.
Like, that's their biggest one. Like, that is the biggest movie they have heading for it is Batman 2 and Batman Brave and the Bold. Like, Batman is the marquee title. And to give it to this, I'm not sure, because I feel like 90% of filmmakers out there want to do a Batman movie. Just one of those things. He's the easiest superhero to work with. I don't know.
Until it's George Clooney.
Yeah, you could. I mean, let George Clooney direct it.
We'll end up with him trying to steal back art from Nazis in Europe.
Fuck yeah, love that.
One of Jeff's favorite movies, The Monuments Men.
Such a good movie, unbelievable. Keaton. I kind of rab on Keaton. I think Keaton's so good in that role. I think it's just a little
awesome.
It's like a lot of the multiversal characters kind of feel out of place at times. I think he fits in well. I think the score's great. I think the Batcave's awesome. I think everything involving Keaton stuff is great, and I hope we'd see more of him. I think.
Why did they address how old?
Batman.
Why did they address how old he is? Why we even give out a number? Didn't they say he's 78 in this? Like they literally stopped to say how old he is in this movie.
But like that's another moment.
I kind of wish I didn't know how old he is.
That was another moment in this that felt very stop and point with both of the Keaton moments. You know what I mean? You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Like,
yeah.
And I'm Batman. Like it felt the train is stopped for you to hear him say this.
Why that's like, don't put that in the trailer. Save that for the movie. Save that moment for the movie.
Yeah.
Because then the moment's ruined once I've seen it 100 times on TV.
Exactly. Oh no, the Kraven the Hunter trailer leak?
How much better or how much worse do you think this is than No Way Home to compare it to?
Because that's what they said, right? They're like, oh, it's their version of No Way Home. Like,
I think is actually a fair comp. I don't think they're that far off from me. I do think No Way Home's a better movie.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's that much better.
I think it's You could qualify the difference in it and how the humor hit rate was higher in No Way Home, and also the CGI looked better.
CGI looks way better.
Yeah, that's the biggest two pluses.
Because No Way Home CGI isn't that great.
Yeah, and I think that's the two biggest pluses I would give it.
No Way Home definitely had a lot of stop and stare moments, but it's almost impossible to compare these two together as well. I'm trying to download this Kraven the Hunter trailer before it drops offline. All right,
where'd you find it?
By the way,
Twitter. I'm just going to text it to everybody.
Speaking of things that have leaked, this movie leaked on like Wednesday online. People were posting this movie on Twitter, like before the movie even like hit wide audiences.
Let's see.
I do not know how this thing leaked that fast, but it was already online.
Let's see. He's on a car.
Oh shit! Is this the
He's ripping this dude's car door off?
This is the trailer for Kraven?
Yeah.
You have the full one?
Yeah.
2 minutes, right?
Yes. We're watching it.
We have to cut this for audio reasons.
Yeah.
But go ahead and just play it, and then I'll cut it out afterwards.
All right, so I guess we watched the trailer just now for Kraven the Hunter, which leaked online, which will be out in the middle of the week, it seems like.
Kraven the Hunter.
Didn't see
the rhinos in it? Did we know that?
I don't think so. Did we?
Kraven. I hunt any animal, any beast.
It's not Australian. And neither was
Kraven is absolutely Australian.
Well, that
Alexandro Nivola does play Rhino, so I guess we did know that.
Okay,
it's gonna be rated R.
This is where these so it's gonna connect to Spider-Man, but it's just it's one of those things.
Part of the spunk. It's part of the spunk, but baby, the Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters. What a name.
Stupid.
Russell Crowe as Kraven's father. Ariana DeBose is in it as Calypso. Okay.
I don't understand the need for a Kraven solo film. He's a great Spider-Man villain. Phenomenal Spider-Man villain, some would say.
He's been taking
but a fucking solo movie? Sure.
Conservationist and protector of the animal.
I like the shot of Aaron Taylor Johnson's just fully ripped body.
Yeah. There's no purpose other than that for you to go, oh, he's hot.
Oh, wow, this guy's jacked. I bet he has a really young wife. Really young, hot wife.
Prepare to be surprised. That's me. Yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson. I'm a fan. ATJ.
Jeff,
okay.
You still going through it?
Yeah, I'm still kind of scrubbing through it. Okay. Interesting. I don't know enough about Kraven. I also am very curious as to how this plays out solely based on one thing, and that's Morbius. I'm not saying it's more. We've heard good things about Kraven, but Morbius is just so tough, and I don't know if I trust anything from Sony. And I don't even Venom 2. I think was terrible. So
awful. That you were underselling how bad that was. Do you remember we walked out of the fucking theater for that, and there was Andy Serkis standing right outside the theater. We just had to be like, "Hey, what's up, man? We'll talk to you tomorrow."
Yeah,
we were interviewing him tomorrow. He's like, "You want me to sign anything?" We're like, "No."
God, it was only 80 minutes long. You know how bad a movie has to be?
Yeah,
80 minutes length for me to really fucking hate it.
Should have been really positive, a big positive. It was bad. It's real bad.
We're gonna make this Carnage movie. There's gonna be no Carnage.
Zero Carnage. Fucking Woody Harrelson. What a bum role for him.
his haircut, his wig.
It's like wig. Oh and then what's the Screecher lady?
I don't know.
Who cares?
I don't know.
She stunk.
Shriek.
That's not. Yeah, that right on the nose. That sounds right. Shout out Andy.
The movie was like 45 minutes long too.
That's what I just said. It was so short, and you know how bad a short movie has to be for like you just fucking hate it. Like
I do truly think like I wish you had been there, Gooch, because we were outcasts in that theater.
Yeah, it was bad. Smelly theater.
With Andrew.
It was us, like we were just dressed like it was me, Robbie, and Jeff, and we're all dressed like normal, like we're going there, and the theater is just packed to the gills with people like decked out in Venom stuff, like Venom trucker hat, Venom flat brim, Venom like bandanas, Venom shirt, Venom like shorts, underwear, sock, everything you could think of like an article of clothing wise, he was wearing it. Like,
dude, that movie wrecked Hot Topic sales.
Yeah.
They still have Venom shirts in storage.
Do you remember we were walking into the IMAX theater and that guy's behind us like, "You guys hear Andrew's here?"
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck are you talking about? Andrew Serkis.
He's directing the third one too, right? Or is he not?
I don't fucking know.
I think he is. I think you're right on that. All right. Well, that is it. Hope you enjoyed this pod. 2 movies. We're doing Asteroid City later in the week.
Lucky us.
Can't fucking wait. I am actually excited. I love a good Wes Anderson. Even if it's bad, I enjoy a good Wes Anderson.
Dress up in your best pastels.
Muted pastels.
Yeah, very muted pastels.
Like not like pastels that have been out in the sun for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, too long.
Comfort colors.
We'll need to be in like a fully framed shot too. Like absolutely, like whatever.
I still maintain what I always say. Like I would, and I'm not the only one who says this. I would love to see him do something different.
Marvel,
I think he would do a great fucking job if he did.
I unironically would love to see him take on like a superhero movie.
Yeah, have him do Kraven the Hunter too. He'd be very.
have him do Detective Chimp.
Detective Chimp.
Howard the he'd probably do like Howard the Duck.
Yeah, he would
be awesome.
He'd be good at that.
Yeah.
Give us a really weird one.
Wes Anderson's Howard the Duck. Yeah.
Can you imagine like how crazy that would be though? Like that would be like, and I know it's not the same level, but like it would be like getting Quentin Tarantino to do something like this. Like someone you just never imagined. Like you like DCEU. Like imagine they got like fucking a Scorsese or something like that. How
imagine
crazy
Marvel got like a Chloe Zhao or something. Like fucking crazy.
But she didn't have the name notoriety yet. Like she got it as it was coming out, basically. Mm-hmm. So like that would be interesting. Francis Ford Coppola's the Marvels too.
I can't wait to see Miss Marvel. My favorite character.
No, stop.
Oh, Jesus.
No, we're not bringing inside jokes into
That's where it ends.
Oh my God. All right. For Gooch and Ken Jack, I'm Jeff. We'll talk to you later in the week.